Hi everyone, welcome to Chapter 2, Building Partnerships in Culturally Linguistically Diverse Settings. Our first slide, we're going to be talking about the impact of special needs on families. And as we all know as family members, is that when something affects one member of our family, it also impacts the rest of the family members. So family members of a child diagnosed with a disability or a developmental delay may experience a wide range of emotions. The impact on parents could be that parents could go through a grieving process and go through a period of adjustment. They could be experiencing emotions such as shock, denial, anger, guilt, shame, depression. And the parents, like the mother and the father, could be experiencing different emotions at the same time. The impact on the siblings is strongly influenced by the response and the dynamics of their family. A sibling could be uncertain of how the disability or delay will affect them or their siblings. The sibling could be feeling some uneasiness over how their friends will react to finding out that they have a sibling with a disability or a delay. They could be feeling left out. The sibling could be feeling resentment over having to help out more with the child who has a special need. The impact on the extended family is, on one hand, you could have grandparents that are very supportive and helpful with the family and the child with the delay or the disability. And on the other hand, you could have family members that don't agree with the treatment or implementation for the child, and so it could become a big burden on the family, just the attitudes of the extended family members. Our next slide, we're going to talk about the family-based approach. The family-based approach is how professionals view parents as active collaborators in assessing, planning, and implementing interventions. And the family-based approach is based on three broad assumptions. And those assumptions are that involving and supporting families is a more powerful intervention to one that focuses exclusively on the child. That encouraging family members to choose their level of involvement in program planning, decision-making, and service delivery benefits both the child and the family. Using family priorities for goals and services benefits the child and the family. And, it's really our job as professionals and future professionals to make sure that families are supported and not overwhelmed. So all delivery of supports and services should be offered in a competency-enhancing manner. So we want to avoid overwhelming the family with too much information or services. We want to use a supportive communication style, and we need to mobilize resources in ways that do not disrupt the family. Our next slide, we're going to be talking about communication strategies for working with parents and other professionals. And the way professionals communicate with families directly affects the parent-professional relationship. And communication is really a skill. It needs practice and development to make you a more effective communicator. And there are 4 communication skills. There's thinking, nonverbal, speaking, and listening. Thinking, we want to try to be as non-judgmental about family values, beliefs, and lifestyles. Keep that in mind. 85% of all information is conveyed non-verbally. So we just need to be mindful of our gestures, body language, facial expression, posture, etc. In speaking, we want to use effective questioning. So we need to think about how much information are we trying to gather. Is it something that can be answered with a yes, no, or do you need to use an open-ended question so that you get a more elaborate response? In speaking, we want to use encouragers like yes, use reflective content and emotions. So like paraphrasing what the listener said, so we can say that back to them and they can, let us know if that's what they were trying to convey to us, or if there was a miscommunication, we can figure that out right then. Listening skills we want to be active listeners. We want to be paying attention, using quality listening. We're not just listening and thinking how we're going to respond. We're going to talk about the family systems approach. And so the family systems theory is a way of conceptualizing how family characteristics, family interactions, and family functions impact a family's adaptation to critical events. So this system will consider the roles of different family members, the role of the family in a larger social network, and the impact of the family and social networks on the interventions. So I was thinking of an example, and I think in the book they talked about how an unemployed single mom living in a dangerous neighborhood would have different family characteristics, different family interactions and functions than, say, a stay-at-home mom from a wealthy suburb would have. In our next slide, we're going to be discussing serving families from culturally, ethnically, linguistically diverse backgrounds. And Alaska, I think, is a really diverse place, at least where I live here in Kodiak. I know that, there's a lot of different cultures here for being such a small island. And culture plays a huge part in a family's attitudes and beliefs about a child's disability or delay. Culture also plays a big part in child rearing styles, how families view professionals, what their choice of goals will be and interventions. And I think we owe it to ourselves and the families we serve to learn about cultures and use that information to interact with families in a culturally sensitive way. To better serve children and families with diverse cultural, ethnic, or linguistic backgrounds, professionals should develop a program commitment to honor diversity and find or adapt materials to ensure the respect, reflect, and include the values, beliefs, and customs of intended users. We should individualize interactions with parents in a way similar to that which they are used with children. Take the time necessary to establish the trust needed to fully involve all families. Use bilingual and bicultural staff, mediators, and/or translators. Participate in staff training and multicultural practices and knowledge, and conduct ongoing discussions with practitioners, parents, policymakers, and members of the cultural ethnic communities a program serves. Next, we're going to talk about the parents' personal rights. And besides the legal rights given to parents under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDA, parents have the following personal rights. Parents, like any other person, are human. They have the right to feel angry, and anger is often the result of not being able to control or change a situation. So one way to, help families that are dealing with anger is to get them involved in the intervention process so they do feel like they have some control. Parents also have the right to seek another opinion. Like all major medical decisions, people often seek a second opinion, and as professionals, we should not take that personally. And parents have the right to stop trying. They may find it impossible to follow through with activities at home. They just might be dealing with so much that they just, don't have the energy right now to try. So they have a right to stop trying. They also have a right to be annoyed with their child. As most of us who are parents know that you will be annoyed with your child at some point, and that's okay. And parents also have a right just to be a parent, just to spend time and have fun with their kids and not always try to be, implementing therapy. So we're going to talk about strategies for building effective teams. And input from a wide variety of professionals still offers the best potential for meeting the needs of children and families. And there's basically 3 types of teams that were discussed in the text this week. There are the multidisciplinary teams, which evaluations are done by professionals. They're carried out independently with little time for professional interaction, comparison, debate, or planning. The other type of teams is the interdisciplinary team, which has professionals from different disciplines. They're all working together to assess manage problems, and they're actively participating in group decisions. And these team members are sharing info, but they are independently implementing their section of services. The last team that was discussed was the transdisciplinary team, and this team makes every effort to work as a team. It's involving all members as a functional unit. Everyone's sharing information and skills among the team. And this is typically used by programs needing to provide comprehensive services that have limited staff or facilities. So everybody's helping everybody else out, basically. And ways to develop effective teams is to develop a mission statement. Like, what is the mission? What are we trying to do as a team? Have a plan in place for handling conflicts before they happen. So if there is a conflict, everyone knows how to deal with it. And team building, that could be trainings together, sharing information, thoughts, ideas, any of those things to build the team. Okay, so our discussion question is, as a future professional, think of 2 ways that you can prepare yourself to better serve culturally, linguistically diverse families in your community, and give 2 specific examples. Thank you. Bye, everyone.